Hi, this is Tammy Leisher, host of Embracing Change, Talking Through Trauma. The podcast is focused on fitness enthusiasts and movement educators, where we'll have deep conversations that are impacting the movement industry. For example, trauma, health, vitality, the nervous system, and movement. And now, welcome to the podcast. Good day. Welcome to Embracing Change, Talking Through Trauma. And today my guest is Dr. Kathryn Tapper, or AKA Dr. KTap. She's a dynamic force in the holistic wellness. She is a Mayo Clinic-trained family medicine physician. She transformed her own health journey into a powerful mission to help others, especially around high-performing women. With over a decade of medical expertise and personal experience as a chronic illness patient, Dr. KTap is a beacon of empowerment, wisdom, insight, and impact. Welcome, Dr. KTap.
Thank you for having me, Tammy. I'm so happy that we're going to have a wonderful discussion today.
Thank you for joining me. I would really like to start our conversation with you said to me, and it's not in here, that you are a holistic family medicine doctor. Did I get that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, correct.
And how does that like you're doing your impactful work as well, but because you just recently started going back into practice again, didn't you?
Yes, I'm actually starting back next month, so going back into it.
So how does the holistic medicine fit into your wellness? Like, how does it all segue together? Because you're not atypical to do the things that you're, and we had a little bit of conversation around that. So,
Right.
but you're a family doctor, so you see the whole family as well.
Correct, yes. So I'm board certified in family medicine, as I said before, trained at the Mayo Clinic. And I have always had at my core a holistic approach to medicine, even before starting medical school. And I believe some of that had to do with how I grew up. I grew up in Jamaica. And so just, the culture of the Caribbean, there's always a holistic approach. And I will say that everyone has their own definition of what they believe holistic health and wellness is. So let me just clarify that first. All right. So when I say holistic health and wellness, I am talking about the 8 dimensions of health and wellness. So when you hear the word health, the first thing you think of is physical health, right?
Correct.
And then maybe secondarily, that might be mental health, right? So those are 2 dimensions. But what about spiritual health? Who's talking about spiritual health and wellness? Occupational, environmental, financial, intellectual, relational. We know up here that all of these different aspects are connected, but are we truly making those connections within our lives? So the way how I am practicing coaching now, and how, as I'm going into holistic concierge medicine, how I will continue my practice, is that when a patient comes to me, for example, and they come in and say, hey, doc, I'm feeling very fatigued, I cannot sleep, right? I want to know, what is the root of why that's happening? Are you unable to sleep because you have anxiety? Do you have anxiety because there are relational stresses that are going on, or maybe stresses at work that are going on, right? Is it because of the stress and you having fatigue? Are you also having difficulty concentrating? Right? And then is that impacting other aspects of your health and well-being, which it is. So I dive deep into making those connections, getting to the root of what's truly going on, and said, okay, this is what we need to do now. And this is what we need a plan for long-term, again, depending on why they're coming in.
So would you say that the bulk of your clients, the root of their health-related issues, or like a combination. Would you say trauma would be a part of that?
Absolutely. Trauma, and that what goes into that is stress, right? So it might
Of course.
show up as anxiety and stress, but there's some roots of trauma that has happened, whether recently or more commonly in childhood.
Correct. Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then you have a kind of a backstory with your own health that kind of led into the culmination of the work that you're doing now. Can you share just a little bit about your story as well, please?
Yes, absolutely. So as I said before, I grew up in Jamaica and I came to the US to start college. Always knew I wanted to be a physician. So the vision, the mission of coming to the States was to be a physician, right? And I've always been healthy at that time, but I began getting sick in the second year of college, and I was diagnosed at that time with end-stage renal disease, chronic kidney disease. So I had two options at that time as a 19-year-old: get a transplant or start dialysis. So a transplant wasn't available at that time, so I started dialysis. And I was able to finish college, medical school and all of that. And when I went into medical school, again, I said that at the core, I always looked at things, holistically, not just physically. And I realized how the healthcare system was set up. You don't know until you're actually in it, right? And I realized that I didn't want to practice medicine the way how the healthcare system was structured for forever. So when I had graduated from residency in family medicine, I said, you know what? I'm going to give myself 5 years to figure out exactly what I want to do. Did not know how that was going to turn out, but I said, more than 5 years, I don't know if I can do it, right? And so I came here to Naples, Florida, after graduating from residency and started working in the clinic. And 2 years ago, I had to go back on dialysis. So I had gotten a transplant during residency, and that transplant wasn't very successful. And so I had to go back on dialysis a couple years ago. And so when that happened, I knew that was my sign to say, okay, this is pushing me in this direction to shift how I serve people. I knew what it was. I did not look at the problem. Yes, going back on dialysis wasn't great, right? It wasn't something that I would want to do, but I knew what was happening. And that's when I had started the journey of going into health and wellness coaching. I had this light bulb moment where I realized I'm actually coaching my patients already in the clinic. I'm not one to just write prescriptions and just say, here, feel better, right? And that's how that journey kind of came together with going into holistic health and wellness coaching. And then to cut a long story short, last year I got another transplant. I'm actually coming up on my 1-year anniversary next month of having this transplant, which was much more successful than the one before. So that alone has given me more energy, vibrancy to go back into I don't like to say go back, to move forward into medicine, but in a different way, something that is going to really provide value to my patients and really practicing medicine the way that I want to practice medicine while still doing this coaching business.
Wow. First of all, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
such a powerful, powerful and empowering story. That's amazing.
Thank you. And there's so many lessons, Tammy, that I've learned along the way from this journey with this diagnosis. Number one, I'm actually very appreciative. I'm full of gratitude to be a patient before becoming a physician, because I see things so much differently than other people. That's number one, right? I treat people how I want to be treated, right? Do unto others as you have others do unto you, the golden rule, right? So I live it, I practice it. And then there are other lessons that I realized, hey, I don't have to be defined by my diagnosis. I don't have to, back in college when I was first diagnosed, said, I don't have to not be a physician because of this diagnosis. So it all depends on how you're looking at these circumstances that show up in your life,
Oh,
that you can then live your life differently based on
yes.
that perspective. And that is
Um,
what I teach at the core with these women, that you don't have to be defined by all of these different things that you're doing. Who are you at your core? And doing it in a calm, centered, and connected way where you're really working in your calling and your purpose-driven work, but not compromising your wellness in order to do it.
yes. And you've developed a program.
Mm-hmm.
Is it your 4Ds?
It is, so the program is an expansion from or extrapolation from the 4Ds
Okay.
framework.
Okay.
And so this is an 8-week coaching program. It's a new program. I actually just finished the first part of it, the launch of it. We finished our 8-week coaching program this week, and the next one is going to be coming up really soon. So really excited about it. I just
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. And at the last week of the program, which was this week, one of the clients, we always share, things that we want to celebrate, right? And she said that, I felt empowered when she's a lawyer out of the country, and she says that I felt empowered when I could just call up the office and say, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm in pain, something this simple, right? And I'm going to come in when I'm feeling better, rather than pushing through to
Yep.
go to work, to do other people's work, right? And that really made my heart full, because the name of the coaching program is called Empowered Wellness for Women. And so for her to say the word empowered at the end of the program, I'm like, yep, I accomplished what I was set up to do within this program. So yeah,
That makes you feel empowered as well.
100%, 100% to say, yes, this is the right program to continue with.
So could you talk a little bit about the 4Ds and how you blend them? Because you don't even, I mean, you're not only like they're a part of your program, but you use them in your life as well.
100%, 100%. Yes, yes, yes. And so the 4Ds that Tammy is talking about is a masterclass that I teach, occasionally. And it's all about feeling empowered from within yourself, feeling a sense of calm as you lead your life and as you are a leader in the work that you're doing, right? We do not have to lead with stress and overwhelm and confusion and chaos, right? All of those words. We don't have to lead a life like that. And so within the 4Ds, there are actually more than 4Ds, Tammy, but I chose those. There are actually more than 4Ds, but I chose those for that class, that training. And so the first D is knowing that you don't have to do it all. So delegating. What can you simplify within your life? What do you not want to do that you can actually have someone else do? So it could be something very simple as someone else washing the dishes, doing laundry, things that take up your time and energy where it could be used otherwise, maybe to use that to rest. I'm a big proponent of rest. Or maybe you could use that time to be with family, or to continue to work on your business or your career, right? So delegating is something that is underused when it is something that can help you tremendously in your life, so that you're not feeling that stress and that overwhelm, right? So that is the 1D, D1. D2 is deleting. Deleting and distancing. So I'm talking about people in this case. right? So thinking about your support system, are they supportive? Or think about who's close to you, let's just say. Are they supportive of what you're doing, of who you are? Or are they bringing negativity into your space? So not everyone can delete people, so to speak, right? Because there might be your blood and you might be living with them, but there are ways that you can put up boundaries. There are ways that you can shift the communication, the contact that you have with them, and then also looking for people that can uplift and support you, being very intentional where that is concerned, because the people that you are surrounded by are a reflection of who you are. So if you want to look and experience things differently, then you're going to have to shift who you're surrounded by. All right. So that is D2, right? D3, disconnect. Disconnect to reconnect. This device here, it can be a big distraction if we don't use it the way, with intention, if we don't use it with intention, right? And so we need to realize that, what I've seen is that people search for the answers outside of themselves, whatever the question that they have. And they forget that, or maybe they don't know that the answer lies within them. And in order to do that, you have to connect more within yourself, which means you need to disconnect from distractions. So what can you do today to disconnect from your distractions and reconnect more within yourself, right? The question comes to you because the answer is already there. What you need to do is to be still and listen for the answer. And the way to do that is to connect and be silent in order to hear it, right? If we want the answer to something and we're searching, we might be searching in the wrong place. Stop searching, pause, and listen, because the answer is right there where you are. So that was what? D3? That was D3. All right, D4. This is another one. Oh, I love this one. Discernment of emotions. We need to have and develop more emotional intelligence. That's a journey in and of itself, right? It is. And we all need that, because a lot of the things we perceive, we take it personally. When someone does something, we take that personally. But what we don't understand is that when someone says something or does something, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with what's going on within them. That's why some people react to certain things and some people don't, right? It's not the thing, it's you being triggered by that thing or that person. So read about emotional intelligence, but that is one of the biggest things that will allow you to live your life differently based on how you can control your emotions. Now, I will say this. You know how I said before that the answer lies within you? So does your wellness. So does your power. Everything lies within you. But if you don't think you have control, then you won't. You will continue to live the life that you've always lived. So those are some of the 4Ds. So thank you for allowing me to share that, Tammy.
That's great. I just want to go back to what you just said about emotions, because a lot of times people push down those emotions, or they avoid feeling those emotions. And that, in my experiences, you have to begin to feel in order to heal. And I think that it's so hard. I mean, if you've gone a lifetime of avoiding feeling, and then your body they're going back to the disconnect. Not only do you disconnect from your phone, but you're disconnecting from your body and your emotions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you see it in your practice. If somebody comes into you with I'm going to just say like a woe is me, I can't do this type attitude, their success rate of getting better is going to be less than someone who is embracing, I got this, I'm going to do it. Like you did with your kidney transplant, your second kidney transplant. You know, those, the frame of mind that we're in plays a huge, don't you feel it plays a huge part in our wellness journey?
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. The limiting beliefs that we have been believing for decades, for a lifetime. We don't have to continue to believe those things. But if you don't know, if you really don't know at your core that there is another way, you're going to continue to believe those things and you're going to continue to experience what you've always experienced. So if you're someone who wants to have a different experience, you're going to have to look at things differently. You're going to have to look at things differently, and then you're going to have to be someone. Going to have to identify yourself as being different in order to live life differently. Absolutely,
Thank you
Tammy.
for bringing that up. That is such an important piece that I don't think everybody, you have to, like, that's just so important. The limiting beliefs and the limiting, like, as women place all kinds of limitations on themselves. I can't do it. I can't show up. I can't, whatever their I can'ts are, they're always there.
Yep.
And sometimes they have to, and sometimes we have to, and I'm going to just say this, we have to dig really deep to really realize, where do those limiting beliefs come from? Are they ones that you grew up with that were your grandparents' limiting beliefs and now you've just adapted them? Or are they something that your mother said and it's only been like what they were her limiting beliefs, but did you adapt them as yours? And it's like when you begin to um, take those limiting beliefs and reframe them, and I don't have to be my mother. I don't have to be my grandmother. I don't know. Those are just two that I'm just saying that because in all of the time that I've worked with many, many women, it's those kinds of stories that I hear over and over again that stifle women or
Absolutely.
limit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be defined by your past. You
No,
grow from your past, right?
yes.
And the other thing that I will add to that, Tammy, is, as you're saying about, okay, where did these beliefs come from? The other question I ask my clients to ask themselves is this 100% true?
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
And 99.9% of the time, it's not.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so when they realize that, they're like, oh, okay. So if this is not 100% true, then I need to think something differently here.
Hmm.
And then they begin that shift.
And don't you think that in the beginning you said you were grateful for your own health journey to get you to this point? And like you, I mean, I've had my own health journey um, with breast cancer, and it's been through a lot of shifting and changing. That, I mean, yes, I had breast cancer, but it doesn't define me. It just is a part of who I am. But for me, that journey involved exercising and moving my body and breathing and doing all these things. And you have created something called your gratitude walk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what your gratitude walk is? And I love the concept behind um, when you described it to me earlier. So,
Yes, I'd love to share that. I it came to me maybe last year, maybe it's been about a year. So I always wake up giving thanks, right? Whether I'm just thinking about it or whether I'm writing it down. And and then I would go and take a walk. And then I realized that I can put everything together, right? So on this gratitude walk, I am moving my body, right? I am connecting with nature because I'm outside, right? And I'm giving thanks for what I have. I'm being in the present moment. And I love this because, especially, I don't like to use the word busy. So I'm going to use the word productive. And so for productive, high achieving, purpose driven women, and I think we're all high achieving women, right? We all want more out of our lives. This is a great way to really experience mindfulness and be intentional about the start of your day doing this walk. So connecting with nature, I always say that nature is our greatest teacher if we're able to listen and if we're able to see, right? And so connecting with nature, going on this walk, movement, right, brings more oxygenation to the brain, the whole thing. We don't have to go into the science behind that, but it's just a great experience to have at the beginning of the day that allows you to connect more from within, and it's just a great experience. So I practice that every day.
And one thing I just want to say is because I have an extensive background in nervous system regulation and trauma.
Mhm.
And to me, they go hand in hand. When you're outside in nature, they automatically help you downregulate to begin your day.
Automatically. Yep.
Yeah. And I just think that and to me, people have to find what's going to help them like begin their day or how that looks for everybody. And whether it's sitting down and journaling and reading or maybe praying. I
Mhm.
mean, because I've had people say to me, well, I can't meditate, and I've turned it around and said, can you pray? Oh yeah, Tammy, I can. So it's like looking at different, like finding things, even if it's 10 minutes a day or just you, to have, again, gratitude and whatever that looks like for you. Um, it's so powerful, such a
It,
powerful, it's just so powerful. And
it
here
is.
you, how many minutes do you think you walk a day? I'm just curious.
How many minutes?
Mhm.
So 30 minutes in the morning, and
Okay.
then I've been starting to walk in the evening as well. So 30 minutes in the evening as well.
And everybody, like, and I just can't, I feel that movement, and I just say movement, I'm not saying what kind of movement, but finding something that you find joy in
Mm.
and how that looks in your body. And it's, we all are different. So walking, whether you practice yoga or Pilates or weight training or rollerblading or tennis, like just whatever gives you joy in your body to reconnect.
Uh-huh.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that you said, find what works for you, because it's not supposed to feel like a chore, right? It's not supposed to feel like something you don't want to do. So maybe
yeah,
that could be dancing, right? You don't have to go anywhere, but trying to make it very simple for you is going to make it easier to work within your lifestyle. The challenging part is the consistency piece. But if you're able to find something that you enjoy, that's the first step.
and
Mhm.
I think that it's really, I'm just going to say this because I see it, and you probably do too. And you're as long as you're consistent, but let's say one day walking only 10 minutes is all that you feel like you really want to, because we wake up and they're like, oh, like just mentally, sometimes we just need to have and regroup, and maybe you need to do something a little more gentle with yourself that day and listening to your body. Here we go back to the listening to your body, listening, and maybe that might mean sitting down and reading something more meaningful, or maybe picking up walking at lunchtime as opposed to first thing in the morning. I mean, I'm just saying, so it looks different for everybody. Consistency, awareness of how you feel when you're doing it is
Exactly.
really important as well. So
Exactly. Yes, yes, I agree.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's now you said earlier you're located in Naples, Florida, but you do work all over, correct? Virtually. Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yes, I do.
yeah,
I do. Yes.
yeah. And I will put in the show notes all of your information. Is there anything that you would like to that I haven't touched on or we haven't touched on, let me say that you'd like to say to our audience?
I would like to say, so the name of my business is called Glow Coaching. And so I want to remind whoever is listening now that your light, the light within you is not supposed to be dimmed. The light within you is not supposed to be dimmed. Your light is supposed to shine bright. But we allow our light to be dimmed because of societal norms, and we allow ourselves to be put in a box. But I want to remind you that you are you. You are individual you. And so you shouldn't let your light be dimmed by anyone. So be true to yourself at your core. And when you're true and authentic within yourself, that light glows from within automatically. And so I want you to show up for yourself, for your health, for your life, so that you can glow up in all aspects of your wellness journey. And when you glow, it radiates to other people, and they also feel as if their light can shine too. So that's what I would say. Show up to glow up.
What a beautiful closing. That was beautiful. I love that. Um, so, but you also will you only see client? Because I know you said in the beginning before we came on camera, you're getting ready to go back into practice. Do you see people virtually or is it all in person for your
Right,
practice?
right now, it is all in person for the practice in Naples.
But if it's coaching they want, you're the
Yes,
lady.
I'm the
Okay.
lady. Yes, I've had clients in Germany, in the Bahamas, all over, and in the US.
So thank you so much, Dr. KTap. This has been a pleasure to have you on Embracing Change today. So I would like to just say thank you, and we will have all of your information in the show notes, but I also want to remind our listeners that I also do trauma-informed movement, and that the information will also be how to get a hold of me in the show notes as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. It's my lifelong mission to educate and bring awareness to the fitness industry around trauma-informed movement. If you have any questions or subject that you would like to hear addressed, reach out to me at my website at www.studiotpilates.com. Hit that subscribe button so the next time we release our latest episode, you're going to be notified. You can also reach out to me on Facebook at Tammy Leisure. On Instagram, you can also reach out to me at Tammy Leisure, but also Studio T Pilates MI. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and we'll talk to you next time.